You're watching Story Scroll. Real stories, raw emotions, and endings you'll never forget. Let's scroll into today's tale.
I never thought I'd be writing something like this, but here I am. I, 34M, have been married to my wife, 32F, for 7 years. We met in college. She was the outgoing, carefree girl everyone wanted, and I was the quiet, reliable guy who always helped others with their projects. Somehow, we clicked. She told me she was done with the bad boys and wanted someone stable. I guess that was me. Safe, predictable, the one she could depend on. We had our ups and downs, like any marriage, but about 6 months ago, we hit a rough patch. I thought we were working through it. We even went to counseling, and she suggested we renew our vows to start fresh. That idea meant everything to me, a chance to prove that love could survive anything. So I went all out. I booked a beach venue, invited close friends and family, even hired a small local band to play her favorite songs. I spent nights writing heartfelt vows about how grateful I was for her, for choosing me, for building a life together. I truly believed we were healing. The day of the ceremony was perfect. The sunset painted the sky in gold and rose. The waves were calm, and everyone looked so happy. I remember looking at her walking down the aisle, thinking I was the luckiest man alive. I had no idea the moment that was supposed to renew our love would completely destroy it. When it was her turn to say her vows, something felt off. Her hands trembled slightly, but her eyes looked distant. She started reading the note she'd written, but halfway through, she paused and laughed nervously. Then she looked straight at me and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "You know, you were always my backup plan. Maybe I should have married Derek after all." For a few seconds, I didn't process it. I thought she was joking. I forced a smile and waited for the punchline. But the silence around us was suffocating. My best man looked horrified. Her parents' jaws dropped. My chest tightened like someone had driven a nail through it. Then she chuckled awkwardly and added, "Oh, come on, it's just a joke." But her eyes said otherwise. That's when I noticed him, Derek, her ex. The same guy she once told me was just an old friend now. He was standing at the back, arms crossed, with a smug little grin on his face. That grin told me everything I needed to know. I stood there, frozen, while she continued her vows like nothing happened. I don't remember a single word after that. The ceremony ended in a fog of fake smiles and awkward applause. Everyone tried to pretend nothing happened, but the damage was done. I could feel the pitying looks, the murmurs, the weight of humiliation crushing me from all sides. Later that night, I pulled her aside. We were alone on the balcony of our hotel room, the sound of the waves crashing beneath us. I asked her what the hell that was. At first, she tried to laugh it off again. It was just a joke. You take everything so seriously. But when I didn't respond, her tone shifted. She sighed and said, "Fine. You want honesty? You were always safe. Derek was my real spark, my passion. But he wasn't ready to settle down, and you were. You were what I needed then." I asked her if she'd been talking to him again. She didn't even deny it. "Yeah, we reconnected a few months ago. Just talking. It's not a big deal." Not a big deal. I walked out of the room. My body felt numb. I spent that night sitting on the beach, staring at the ocean, wondering how someone could look me in the eyes during a vow renewal and confess something like that in front of everyone. When I finally went back inside, she was asleep, or pretending to be. I picked up her phone from the nightstand. I shouldn't have, but I had to know. And there it was, flirty texts, inside jokes, heart emojis, pictures, the kind of messages you send when you're not just talking. I scrolled further back. They'd been messaging even during our marriage counseling sessions. She told him things like, "He's so boring sometimes, but he's stable. You know how he is. If things don't work out, maybe it's our second chance." My hands were shaking. Every "I love you" we'd exchanged in those months suddenly felt like a lie. I didn't confront her that night. I didn't yell. I didn't throw things. I just sat there, quietly saving every screenshot, every message. Because I realized something. She wasn't just unfaithful. She was arrogant enough to humiliate me publicly, thinking I'd never fight back. And that's when something inside me shifted. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened, smiling, posting pictures from the vow renewal on Instagram with captions like "New Beginnings." I played along, pretending I was fine. I knew then that I wouldn't react emotionally. I'd respond strategically. I reached out to a lawyer friend of mine, told him everything. He reminded me that the prenup we signed before marriage had a clause about infidelity. It suddenly became very relevant. He advised me to collect evidence discreetly, texts, call logs, everything. So that's what I've been doing, quietly, carefully, backing up everything. I'm not going to scream at her or make a scene. That's what she expects: chaos, drama, emotion. But I've realized the best revenge isn't loud. It's clean, precise. I want the truth to speak for itself. She humiliated me in front of everyone who mattered to us. I'll return the favor, not with shouting, but with the truth. Update 1. It's been about 3 weeks since that nightmare of a vow renewal. I'm still processing what happened, but I promised I'd update when I had something worth saying. And trust me, this one's worth it. After that night, I made a decision. No yelling, no crying, no dramatic breakup scenes. She wanted emotion, chaos she could twist into a "we were both at fault" narrative. Instead, I gave her calm. Nothing terrifies a manipulative person more than quiet composure. So I played my part perfectly. I told her I forgave her, that I just wanted to move on. I even suggested we keep going to counseling, which made her relax. She bought it completely, probably thought I was too broken or too soft to do anything. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, I started building my foundation, quietly, methodically. I opened a separate account and moved part of my savings there, just in case she got vindictive later. Changed all my passwords, contacted my lawyer friend again and gave him the full story with screenshots, dates, and call logs. He said the case for infidelity was rock solid. I didn't stop there. I started noticing small things: her girls' trips, random nights she stayed late at work, and her frequent phone calls with a coworker. I didn't confront her. I just documented everything. Every message, every timestamp, every lie. For 3 weeks, I played the role of the forgiving husband. I cooked dinner, watched shows with her, even held her hand in public. She smiled like nothing happened, posted selfies captioned, "Working through things together." But every time she smiled at me, I smiled back, knowing exactly what was coming. A mutual friend of ours, Mark, was celebrating his 10th wedding anniversary soon. He was one of the guests at our vow renewal, and one of the few who noticed how crushed I looked afterward. He invited us both to his party, saying it would be a great chance to reconnect. That invitation sparked an idea. I reached out to Mark privately and told him I wanted to do something special, a surprise slideshow to celebrate love and honesty. He's a romantic guy and didn't ask too many questions. He just handed me the mic slot and projector access. The next few nights, I worked on the presentation. The first few slides were harmless: photos of couples from the group, including me and my wife, smiling at dinners or trips, sweet, nostalgic stuff, the kind of thing that would lower everyone's guard. Then I started layering in screenshots. The first few were subtle, short text bubbles with her contact name cropped out, things like "I can't stop thinking about you" or "I wish things were different." Then came clearer ones, full screenshots showing her name, her ex's name, and the dates. Her messages saying things like, "He's so predictable. You're the one that makes me feel alive." "Don't worry, I'll figure out a way to see you this weekend." I ended the slideshow with a black background and a single sentence in white font. To the woman who said I was her backup plan, thank you for showing me who you truly are. When the night of the party arrived, she dressed up beautifully. Silver dress, makeup perfect, laughter echoing through the room. She had no idea. When my surprise presentation started, she even cheered. "Aw, that's so cute, babe," she whispered. The first slides played, everyone smiling, clinking glasses, celebrating love. People laughed and reminisced. Then the texts appeared. At first, people chuckled awkwardly, thinking maybe it was a joke. But as the context became clear, the room fell completely silent. You could hear the soft hum of the projector. Then came the final slide, the quote. I turned off the music and said quietly, "Some people renew their vows to celebrate love. Others just renew their lies. But truth has a way of finding light." No yelling, no theatrics. Just silence. She sat there frozen, face pale. Then she stood up and shouted, "What is this? Are you serious right now?" I didn't respond. I just looked at her. Everyone else did too. Her best friend covered her mouth in shock. Her parents looked mortified. And Derek, the ex, was standing near the drinks table trying to act invisible. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the whispers started. Someone gasped her name. Someone else muttered, "Oh my God, that's disgusting." And then Derek made the mistake of speaking. "This is pathetic, man. Airing dirty laundry?" I turned to him and said calmly, "You're right. It's dirty, but it's her laundry, not mine." He didn't have a comeback. He just left, face red, avoiding everyone's eyes. My wife tried to chase after him, but stopped halfway when she realized everyone was watching. I didn't wait for the drama to continue. I handed Mark the clicker, thanked him for letting me share, and left. By the time I got home that night, my phone was blowing up. Her texts ranged from angry to desperate within minutes. "How could you humiliate me like that? You ruined my life. Please, can we talk?" I didn't reply. I just packed a bag, grabbed my essentials, and drove to a friend's place. He poured me a beer and said, "That's the most poetic revenge I've ever seen." The next morning, I filed for divorce. My lawyer included every piece of evidence. The prenup clause about infidelity meant she'd lose a significant portion of the shared assets. And since most of the wedding and vow renewal expenses came from her parents, not me, I had little to lose. Word spread fast. Our mutual friends started cutting her off one by one. Even her own sister messaged me saying, "I can't believe she did that to you." Her parents were furious, not just about the cheating, but the public humiliation they endured. They'd invited family, paid for that vow renewal, and now everyone knew their daughter was the one who caused it all. Meanwhile, Derek disappeared from her life completely, deleted social media, blocked her number, probably too embarrassed to face the fallout. As for me, I felt lighter. Not happy, not yet, but free. The kind of freedom that comes when you stop carrying a lie. It's been a week since the divorce papers were filed. She's still trying to contact me. Dozens of messages, voicemails, even showing up at my office once. She was escorted out. The last text I got from her read, "You ruined my life. I made one mistake and you destroyed me." I stared at that message for a long time. Then I deleted it. Because the truth is, she didn't make one mistake. She made 1,000 small choices that led to that moment. And she thought she'd never have to face consequences. Well, she did. And the best part? I didn't have to scream, cheat, or break anything. I just told the truth. She said I was her backup plan. Turns out, I was the only one who had a plan.
Final update. It's been almost a year since my last update, and I think it's finally time to close this chapter. A lot has changed. For me, for her, and for everyone who got caught in the fallout. The divorce finalized about 3 months after the anniversary party. It went smoother than I ever expected. My lawyer said she didn't even try to contest it after seeing the evidence. Apparently, once her own lawyer explained how badly the prenup clause about infidelity worked against her, she realized fighting was pointless. She lost a portion of her savings, had to move out of the house we shared, and took only her personal belongings. I didn't ask for alimony. I just wanted out. Mutual friends filled me in on what happened after. Derek ghosted her almost immediately after the slideshow incident, deleted her number, blocked her on socials, and started dating someone new. I can't say I was surprised. Guys like him thrive on chaos until it touches them. Then they vanish. Her family was furious. Her parents barely speak to her now. Her dad called me once, apologized for her behavior, and said, "You didn't deserve that humiliation." I told him I agreed and wished them well. A few months after the divorce, I got a message from her. Just one line at first. "I'm so sorry. I made a mistake." I didn't reply. She followed up with, "I didn't realize what I had until I lost it." Still, no response. There was nothing left to say. Sometimes silence is the most powerful answer. After everything ended, I threw myself into rebuilding. The first few weeks were rough, the kind of quiet where every sound in the apartment echoes your loneliness. But instead of spiraling, I decided to use that pain as fuel. I started hitting the gym again, something I'd neglected during the marriage. At first it was about distraction, but then it became routine. Each rep felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. I stopped checking her socials, I stopped caring what she was doing. I just focused on becoming the man I'd been before her betrayal, only stronger, wiser, calmer. I started traveling, nothing extravagant at first. Weekend trips, solo hikes, city visits. Being alone stopped feeling like loneliness and started feeling like freedom. I met new people, real, grounded ones who liked my calm, not my compliance. Eventually, I quit my corporate job and opened a small consultancy business with a friend. It took months of planning and long nights, but it's thriving now. Turns out, being methodical, the same trait she once mocked as boring, is exactly what helped me rebuild my life. I shared pieces of my journey online, not just the revenge part, but the lessons. One post I made about red flags disguised as jokes went viral. I wrote, "When someone mocks your pain and calls it humor, they're telling you exactly how little your feelings mean to them. Believe it the first time." The post blew up. Thousands of people commented, sharing their own stories of betrayal and healing. I never expected it, but the support was overwhelming. For the first time in years, I felt seen, not as the guy who got cheated on, but as someone who refused to let betrayal define him. Life felt lighter, peaceful. I stopped waiting for karma to do its job because I realized it already had. About a month ago, I ran into her. It wasn't planned. I was invited to a mutual friend's baby shower. I almost didn't go, but curiosity and closure got the better of me. When I arrived, she was already there. I almost didn't recognize her at first. The confident, sharp woman I once knew looked tired, faded. Her hair was shorter, her eyes carried that hollow exhaustion people get when life finally humbles them. She froze when she saw me. The room went quiet for a second, as if everyone sensed the unspoken history. She walked over after a few minutes, clutching her drink like a lifeline. "Hey," she said softly, "you look good." I smiled politely. "Thanks, you too." She laughed awkwardly. "Yeah, well, trying to get back on track, you know?" We made small talk for a minute, surface level, meaningless. Then she sighed and said, "You look happy, genuinely happy. I'm glad things worked out for you." I nodded. They did. There was a pause. Then she looked at me with that old half-smile and said, "Guess I should have realized what I had before I lost it." That's when I looked her in the eyes, not with anger, not even pity, but calm detachment. I said, "Guess being a backup taught me how to upgrade." Her face fell, not in anger, in realization. I didn't stay long after that. I said goodbye to a few friends, congratulated the new parents, and left. Walking out of that room felt symbolic, like finally closing the last door of a house I'd already moved out of emotionally long ago. I got into my car, rolled the windows down, and drove home feeling something I hadn't in a long time: complete. I don't hate her, not anymore. Hate would mean she still mattered. What I feel now is gratitude, not for what she did, but for what it taught me. She thought revenge was about destruction, but real revenge is about evolution. I didn't destroy her life. She did that herself. I just stopped letting her drag me down with it. Revenge wasn't about hurting her. It was about reclaiming myself. If anyone reading this has been betrayed, remember, you don't have to set yourself on fire to make someone else see their mistakes. Sometimes the best revenge is walking away quietly and letting your peace be the loudest thing they hear. She thought revenge was my backup plan. Now I'm living proof that sometimes the backup is the best upgrade life could offer.
Thanks for watching Story Scroll. Hit that bell and stay tuned for the next story that will move your heart.